What's up, y'all? I'll give this like 5 minutes for y'all to show up, and we'll do this little live question and answer session. Maybe I'll do a second one because I doubt people will be showing up at noon or whatever time it is wherever you are. Because at the times that I've done this show, they usually people don't show up till like 3 o'clock my time. So we'll see. I'll give it a second here. What up, Aldrin? Oh, that was fast. Yes. What up, Alchem? Here, we'll look at these. We'll look at these flowers. We'll meditate on these things. Maybe we could do a show. I told you we'll do this thing really soon, probably after this fast, because I think the fast will get us kind of on the same vibe and frequency. That we'll do the dream world work, where we'll try to use a specific frequency and link up. We'll try to. Oh, nice, dude. So you're home. You're home for the day, huh, Al? Have you done the turpentine and castor before? Is that the way you always mixed it? Yeah, man. Yeah, that's so what we'll do is we'll probably after this this fast here. Oh, you do the sugar cubes. Okay. Do you do the white sugar cubes? Because I've heard philosophy of not using good sugar, but using the white sugar because that's what the little buggers want. So they come out to get that. And I've heard other argument to use natural honey to like, isn't the purpose to get all of this garbage out of the body anyway? So why keep inserting the white cubes into your body if that chemical is actually causing you the chaos? So I think there's a valid point of each of the arguments. I don't know which one I prefer. Yeah, the white sugar. I do wonder, man. I do. It's I wonder if people are getting more worms out because they're creating more worms with more white sugar. That's because once you put that sugar in your blood, it's going through the whole bloodstream, and you don't know where these little fuckers are living, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. I do have my suspicions that it's not a good idea, because the people that I notice that do the white sugar cubes, they're always fasting. They're always kind of sick, and I'm like, well, the point of the point of getting healthy is to become a beacon of health, and not to always be cleansing. And I find these people, they're continually cleansing, and I've obviously spoken at length about this in the past, about people become obsessed with how sick they are. They're identifying with their sickness and identifying with needing to get rid of the toxins and get rid of the problems that they have. And yeah, it's all well good at first, but once you get to a certain point, you need to start rebuilding. And a lot of people get too obsessed with that, and I think they might actually be causing more distress on their system without even realizing it. Because I don't know too many people that have like really successfully, like if you have to redo this thing, then you know you haven't really done it. If you have to redo doing the turpentine and white sugar every couple months, then to me that says you didn't do you didn't solve the problem, right? And who have I seen? What's the guy's name? Kind of British kid, rides bikes, really skinny. Dan, Sunfruit Dan. Yeah, I mean, I dig him, but he just seems like every time I see his videos, he seems like he's always doing it, and he seems sickly to me. He does have a sickly kind of frame and auric field about him. I mean, I don't know where he came from. I don't know how much he, I don't know what he looked like or what he does. Like, I know he rides bikes, so he has a pretty thin frame, but generally speaking, it's your third cleanse? Cool. Yeah, whenever I've done it, I did it a few times. I used what did I do? I did honey, oregano oil, turpentine, and I mixed it in a drink with what was it? Tequila, like a really good tequila, and I found that to be really, really helpful. So 3 and 2 years. Do you get a lot? Do you get a lot coming out? because I've never, in my system, while I know I have candida to a degree, because it's obvious, I see it in my toenails. I don't know if it's like specifically just candida, or if it's just not having good blood circulation to my feet that's causing the problem. So, and I've never seen any full-on worms come out that people talk about. I've never had that. I've had some really filthy, foul things come out, but never the worms. Here, I'll flip this around so you can all look at my person. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, what do you guys this fast? I'm considering the first of the month. Yeah, you haven't seen any. And how long do you do them for? Like, are you on a regimen including eating, or are you doing specifically just straight to the turpentine? And I think for me, I probably don't have too many worms because of the excess of alcohol that I consume. Yeah, the thing that kills you keeps you alive, right? I think I've probably killed anything in my body with the hard alcohol. It's not these little worms, they can't drink the way I can. I drink them to death, smoke them to death, you know. Which I say it in humor. I say it in humor here, but in truth, they're obviously I've spoke at length about the benefits of alcohol and its uses internally as well as externally, and having it as a part of the diet is a very healthy thing to do. And I think it's one of the major solutions to a lot of people that find problems with a vegetarian and especially a vegan diet, but vegetarians especially, that they go like, oh, I don't want to have any alcohol because it's unhealthy, but not realizing that they're B12s. And I don't like to call them B12s, I just like to state, what do they do? What is the purpose? If you look at a glass of beer, I wish I had some here, what you see is inside of the glass, those bubbles that are coming up is actually the living system that's taking something off of the glass that's usually a carbohydrate, and it's eating it, and it's turning it into gas, which is that's the expression of life there. And now by putting that in your body, you're doing to your body the same thing. You're actually bringing that, you remember that song, The Percolator? That DC Go-Go, The Percolator? Yeah, you know that. That percolation is what life is, that bringing up the energy. And so by putting that into the body, you're actually eating up, just like sauerkraut, just like all of these living foods. It's doing the job of processing things to keep you living and healthy. Because most people just keep putting garbage into their system, and they really go, oh, no, vegetarian is healthy. Well, let's slow down here, you know? It's like, and then people get in on this big thing, oh, meat's gonna rot in your system. Well, not if it's cooked. You don't, like, there's these things that stages for people that, and they have to realize what it is that where are they getting the energy from. And the energy is actually produced when we talk about B12s, and people say, oh, you don't get your B12s. It's about the dividing and pulling apart and the living system, which is what the beer does. It's like, this is why they use brewer's yeast. Well, why not just brew something with it? Now, why not just drink your bread? Why eat the bread if the bread's just going to sit in your system? Why not drink it? And this gets into farmhouse ales, and it gets into a lot of different farmhouse ales. And that's taking, what they did is they would take dirty water. Instead of drinking dirty water, they'd use the yeast to eat up everything in there, as well as the vegetation, and turn the dirty water clean. Beer is clean water. So this is what people don't get. They took dirty water that was filthy, that was no good, and it ate away the filth in the water, and it became a drinkable 3% beer substance that people on the farm would drink all day, rather than drinking dirty water. Imagine that. So if the logic would prevail here in a simple idea, if it's cleaning the water outside of you, that you can watch it in a glass, clean a glass, because it's eating off of the carbohydrates and turning it into energy, what do you think it's doing in your body? Beer is life. So a fast, if people are very smart about a fast, you would And, you know, and again, this is different types of fast. You don't do a water fast with beer, but if you're doing a juice fast, it'd be very highly intelligent to drink beer. There you go, Electric Tau, 90%. Say I've been getting people to this point. You know, it's about taking people through the little bit of steps. You can't just come out here and be like, oh, all you can do is be a breatharian, because nobody wants to hear that. But yeah, this comes through that energy exchange, the electrical system and the energy exchange that's occurring in your lungs. Your lungs are huge, and if you use them right, that's where you're getting your energy. Your blood goes in there, and you're basically turning that. You're turning. That's your system. Your lungs make your heart work. Your heart doesn't pump blood through your body. People need to get that right. Your heart rate goes up when your blood pressure goes up because you're breathing properly. By breathing, you're moving, pressurizing your system and making your blood, you're making your heart beat. This is why you could literally stop your heart from beating and you'd still be living. Because the heart isn't keeping you alive. It's a valving system. So back to what Electric Tau was saying, when we consider the electrical universe idea and what our body is an electrical system, and if we, without getting into like the more specifics of what's being exchanged, if we just look at the gaseous exchange, what's happening there is there's an electrical circuit being created without even getting that's actually giving you the energy in your body. And stepping back from that, the alcohol, you can watch it in front of you. That's why it's so interesting to look at a glass, like, where are those bubbles coming from? What is that's living? What's occurring there? It's breathing. It's a living system. And that's you look into like weightlifters and things. Like alcohol is beer is a big part of many cultures, vegetarian cultures all across the world. And you try to tell people this, and they think alcohol is evil. They think, they got curious institutions of their mind. And that's my last video about how people come to their conclusions and understandings. They really don't. The thinking has been done for you. Don't ask any questions. We have the answers. What's up, Rising Love? What up, David Phillips? I just seen your thing. Yeah, man, we'll do a talk soon. Whenever you want, man. Sometime this week, David Phillips. Yeah, gin and tonics, man. What kind of Alchem? What kind of gin you got? There's a really good small batch gin. I'll try to look it up for you. That has something like 35 or 40 botanicals in it. It's really high-end good stuff. The stuff that I like Bombay. Bombay is nice, and there's a couple other small batches around New Orleans. There's actually a distillery down the street from my house that does gin that's pretty nice. But yeah, gin and tonic with turpentine, or like down here in New Orleans, the spirit down here, it has the green fairy in it, right? Wormwood. That was one of the major things in the I don't know why I'm slipping on the name of the alcohol, because they changed it, or they had banned it and they changed the name because of the wormwood, which has thujone in it, and thujone was a chemical that was making people hallucinate. Although that thujone was also in the wormwood, and the wormwood was one of the chemicals that gets rid of the worms. So it was super healthy to be drinking this wormwood laced beverage. And so you can actually get wormwood off a line and add that to vodka, or add that to a thing and extract it yourself, and then you can get your thujone, your wormwood, cleanse yourself of worms, and get yourself a little follow a little green fairy around. Yeah, Rising Love, I'm with you there. Yeah, I think everybody does. I just seen some of your videos yesterday, Rising Love. It's so nice to see you on camera. Yeah, everybody does, I think, have a little bit of candida. I think you're supposed to kind of live in communion with these things. I think they're just supposed to be there as kind of like sleeping, kind of on guard, like ready to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. You don't want to get rid of all of them. You don't want to kill all of them, but the overgrowth, I think, is a matter of just, okay, let's kill off the population and then feed ourselves properly, and then you'll have some just stored up waiting if there's any kind of, you know, it's part of your immune system to a degree, right? Your immunity is your ability to, you know, when we're really high level vibing, and you don't need any of these things, but most people aren't there, so we're going to use things to be on our team, the demons and the angels on my team. And those little demons are those worms, and people are quick to forget that the reason you're alive right now is because of those worms. If those worms weren't in your body eating things away, eating the death and decay away, it would have taken over your body. You would have aged and been dead by the time you were 20. You wouldn't have got out of your teens having the kind of diet that most people have. So people have to go, okay, let's slow down here. You can't just kill off all of the worms and then go ahead and feed yourself a shitty ass diet, because you're not going to be able to digest it. You're not going to be able to process it. Yeah, the red wine, I don't know specifically on why that would be. My guess would have to be to do with, there's a certain couple chemicals in red wine that are probably doing the job of, like, I mean, red wine tends to make people sleepy, right? So just use simple thought process. Does it make is there a chemical in there that's also, just like if you eat turkey, you're getting the tryptophan, this makes you sleepy. Is it making the worms sleepy too? So, or is it killing them? It's the dryness that you get out of the red wine. There's a drying factor. It's the bitter element of the wine that's called, I don't know why I'm slipping on these words today. Anyway, so that's probably having a drying out process, and there's a lot of use going back to, you know, the four humors: hot, cold, dry, and wet. And using an element like an alcohol, which is wet but hot, to work within the body that you can burn things off that you don't need in you anymore. So if you start with the simple concept of the four humors, you can really figure a lot of things out very quickly on how the body functions and works, and what you need to be doing to solve problems in the body. If you're cold and wet, what do? You start a fire. Dry and hot. Simple concept. The body doesn't, it's not as complicated as everybody likes to make it. Yeah, electric towel. I think that's where the use of oil comes in for most people. Is most people need more oil in their system to be so an electrical wire, you've got the copper wire, then around it you've got your the rubber around it, the fat. The fat is essentially that. So the oil actually keeps your system from burning itself out, from starting yourself on fire. Quite probably, honestly, because if you got some energy running through your system, you need a way to keep it from, immolating yourself. So I don't doubt that a yogi could start themselves on fire. And so yeah, that grounding thing, grounding yourself out in sunlight, you could probably get upwards of like 99% of your energy from, and once your skin is open and clean, and you start breathing through your pores of your skin, because you're doing it anyways, you just be doing it more effectively. That you're getting we're walking around in water right now. There's always water around us, so your whole body becomes your lungs. So why would you need to drink water anymore? This is where breatharian comes from. Now all of a sudden, I don't need to drink water. If I know that I can survive on water for months, well then I can survive without water for months, because my body is actually doing the process that, like, think of a dog. A dog doesn't sweat, they pant. They're letting out heat and moisture out of their mouth, and so the way that they solve the problem of running and panting, that they don't sweat. So we have an upgraded system which allows our body to do the breathing for us, to literally get rid of heat and moisture, and also bring in the opposite. So that's how we get to the point of breathing prana, breathing chi, breathing energy through our skin. Alchem, what is a good beer in my mind? My favorite beer ever for breakfast is Old Rasputin. It's amazing. And now as far as like what is actually a good beer to drink, like for all of the health benefits, find yourself an unpasteurized beer. Find yourself something that is not been, because the pasteurization is burning off all of the good stuff. There's a great book by Stephen Herod Buhner called Herbal Healing Beers. Herbal and Healing Beers. One of my favorite books. And there's lots of really simple recipes in there to start making your own beer, man. And if anybody ever wants to get on it and start, like, we could start making some beers, you know? We could have a network of beer making idiots. It'd be great. We all do all different recipes in there. I've made a few of them. I used to brew some beer. Yeah, Rising Love. Unpasteurized bottle process is the way to go. Yeah, and Reza, the belief system is basically the gatekeeper for getting to another level of anything. You certainly can. You can certainly survive outside of your capacity to believe it. You know, there's always, like, the body's a little more intelligent than we are, for most people. But that one little jump, like for me, it was doing I had done so much research on fasting before I ever attempted one, and then when I did, I didn't do 3 days, I didn't do 5 days, I did 40. So it was just like, oh, of course this works. Okay, this makes sense to me. Okay. And so that was my mind saying, okay. And I wonder for other people if they didn't, you know, could you get into could you start like panicking in 2 weeks in and end up using that energy and anxiety to cause yourself heart palpitations, etc., and cause yourself a little more chaos than you'd have to deal with if you were just fasting properly. Oh, that's right. You guys got a lot of nice craft beers and microbreweries out there. You're in what, Colorado Springs, Alchem? What up, Lumeno? It is beautiful out here today. Yes, yes. And I got your email or your hit me on IG, but I was just on my phone. So I have my computer and I have a keyboard now, so I can get back to you. Yes, yeah, Alchem, I'll try to find it. I think it's called like Spirit 43 or something. It's something. I think it has the number of types of botanicals they use inside of the gin. What up, Cam? Yeah, Reza, the worms do not cause the problem. This is what people need to get right. The worms are not the problem in people's bodies. Those people will go, oh, parasites, they're terrible. No. Your diet's fucked. If you didn't feed them, they wouldn't be there. That's the point. People are like, oh, worms, the nasty little creatures, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Stop putting the things in that are feeding them and they'll just run right out the back door. If you're having a party and you have a bunch of blow at your house, you'll have a bunch of, coke heads over your house. If you don't have any cocaine at your house, you'll have no coke heads at your house. Simple process. You don't have beer, people that drink beer ain't coming over. So these little things that are living in your temple, if you don't provide them with what they need, you'll have the ones that will stick around because they're your friends, and they'll just hang out and relax and wait for the next time that you do something stupid, and they'll go ahead and we'll feast. It's really just about getting past one generation of these things, though. And the one generation, I don't know what the generation... I don't know what the generation is for a worm's lifespan. I would assume it has, because it's regulated somewhat on the moon. It might be 90 days, it might be a moon cycle. But if you can get through one cycle of that, they're not going to reproduce. And so... then after that, you won't have the cravings. Cravings come from the worms going, hey, feed me. Hey, feed me. And they're letting off chemical signals that get into your blood that tell your brain, hey, I need that. And you're all of a sudden like, why do I want that garbage-ass salty food? Why do I want that? Whatever it is. And so you're feeding yourself secondarily. You're feeding them first. And you end up actually eating their shit. Imagine that. If people really knew what was happening, as you're feeding yourself and it's in your intestines, they're eating it and shitting out the shit that you've eaten, and that is going into your bloodstream, and you're actually eating their shit. It's pretty fun to think about, eating worm shit all day. Oh, Katesh, I got your thing just before I got on here. That's awesome. And this is why I was gonna make the secondary, this next one on fasting, because you said you wanted to do a heavy metal fast, and I figured we'd get into like questions here that people have specifically about what to do for certain kinds of fasting. All right, Electric Towel. Yeah, Katashi, the earlier live stream was pretty. It was just me venting on some learning conundrums that go on in society. What's up, Unstance? Oh, nice, kombucha and mead, dude. Wicked, Alchem. Yeah, get that. You know what? Get that book. See if you can find a PDF for free of that Stephen Herod Buhner. Yeah, you might be able to find a free PDF. And if you can't, let me know, because I might have a copy laying around. You made a pickle beer. Unstance, that's wicked, a pickle beer. You made a pickleback, all in one. Pickleback shots. I mean, to me, pickled kombucha, like a pickle flavor in a kombucha, I can dig it. What up, Bap? How you doing, man? Yeah, I was just talking to people about this. I have a keyboard now, so I can respond accordingly to people. Because doing it with my thumbs, I always feel like I'm not typing enough, and so I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And I finally have a keyboard, so I'll hit you back. Alchem, I don't know, because again, my mind works a little differently than most people. I'll just see how I feel when I wake up, but I assume it's going to be primarily piss, urine, orin. I think I'm going to do orin. My feeling is it's really going to be dependent on the sunshine, the weather, and I don't know. If I see any friends around, if somebody wants to drink a beer, like I'm gonna try to stick to just doing strictly urine, distilled water, and we'll see how I feel. Because I found that obviously after you've gone through these fasts and conditioned yourself enough to know the process and know what you're doing, then you have a little more leeway to work with the body because you know what your body is asking for, rather than, you know, people like, oh no, I need food on a fast. Like, no, your body doesn't need food. Like, so you can kind of work within it and kind of adjust your pH / your carbohydrates, etc., your ingestion. So I'm probably going to do 5 days, mostly urine, maybe some juice, depending on if I'm going to see again. Like I said, if it's really sunny out and I'm able to get my shoes off and get a lot of sunshine, if I'm going to go play basketball, if I'm going to start, you know, I'm going to see where my energy levels are, because I haven't fasted in a couple months and I haven't really been doing anything active. So I want to turn this back into fasting while doing a lot of activity. And so I'll just feel it out. So we will see. Steve P, what's up? Oh, that was for somebody else? Steve P, were you saying you hit me up on Facebook? You couldn't hit me on Facebook. I ain't even on Facebook, my dude. Was that for somebody else? Yeah, but maybe hey, Unstance though, we could figure out how to make a pickle brew. Alchem, you never done a coffee enema? Cool, man. I'm gonna do coffee enemas too. I'm gonna do some coffee and urine enemas while doing that for sure. Did you watch my other video I just did yesterday? sticking things up your ass. The enema video. And if you haven't, watch that one, because that'll a lot of answers in there. Yeah, Steve P. I don't have a Facebook, my dude. So if you sent somebody something, somebody trying to, somebody told me a while ago that somebody was using like my information and videos to like do shit, and I was like, whatever, man. It's just information. I don't care. So yeah, you hit me on my Gmail. I might just get a Facebook. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. I just never have. I just never needed one. You know, instance, I don't know what you're like. If I have to just put like an 18 and over thing on it, I don't care. I'd do a live enema. I don't care. Y'all watch me take a shit. Y'all want to stare into my brown eye? That's fine with me. I just look at you. You all some nasty motherfuckers out here. But yeah, I've seen a couple people that have done live ones. You don't show anything, but I don't care. Yeah, Katesh, we could just do like a full. It'd be like we could all live enemas. I love it. It's so ridiculous. Because a couple people have, and so I mean, there ain't really much to it. Like lube the thing up, stick it up your ass. That's about the size of it. Yeah, we could all in there. Like how do we do this properly? You know, people are really over analytical about everything. Well, then they really need to know how something's done. They really need to know the process. That would be a pay-per-view. Yeah, we could do that with split screen, a couple different angles, how to properly. I like it. Yeah, rising love. Here, I'll touch on that for everyone. Coffee enema is the most important thing. Is, you know, every 3 minutes it's said that it cycles through your system. So unless you've held it for 3 minutes at least, nothing's really going on. It's not that effective. You should be able to hold it for 15 minutes, but it's hard because a lot of these things will be, you'll have spasms. And whether it's your intestines that are spazzing out or the worms that are spazzing out, other things that you can add wormwood to it. So if anybody wants to get on Amazon and do a little shopping for themselves, wormwood is a great thing to purchase to add to, whether you're making teas or whether you're going to put it up the rectum. Wormwood, mugwort. These are great for really bitter elements, and anything that I've ever talked about as far as what is it called, quinine, these kind of things are super. Anything with the term Lucifer in it, Luciferian, like if you look up the chemical properties of something, if you look up the word lucerine, what you'll find is, I think it's lucerine. You'll find that anything that has that basically has an element in it that is causing light to happen in the system, and this light is literally part of what's destroying the worms and the toxic things in you. So upgrading the yeah, where was I here? Oh yeah. So putting those kind of things in you, the bitter elements, bitter are always better. Bitter is medicine, and it's because of getting into the deeper things. Bitter is alkaloids. As alkaloids, whether smokable, ingestible through a tea, or putting them up your rectum, you're getting rid of the things that are leaching off of your system. So if there was a shopping list, it would be something like look for things that have quinine in it. That's the stuff that they make gin and tonics with. I've done videos on that, which is called cinchona bark. Kratom almost certainly does, as we're sitting here at a kratom spot. Kratom seems to, because there's so many different varietals of it. So I don't know which one specifically would do what. I've never done a study on it. I just I know the cat here that runs the place, and he's pretty well versed on what's going on with it. So I just listen to him. Rage mode. I think maybe that might be you know what? That's a great idea. Anal beads that actually have some sort of herb quality to it. And I'm not even joking. That's some real shit. Like, you could, you know how they have, what do they call them? They're tiny little beads, pearls, they call them. We call them pussy pearls or something, that have things that have medicine in it. So when a woman is on her period, she puts them up there, and it basically causes, it's basically like aspirin. And so, like, in the same way, you could, on the real, there could be, you do little butt beads with medicine, for sure. And Rising Love, I was saying in use either way, teas or enemas. They're both a genius idea. Most people have a harder time getting the medicine down, but again, if you think of your system, how you're running it through the whole thing. So if you have worms farther up in you know, whether they're in your stomach, some people have them in their stomach. This is usually for people that are really heavy pork eaters and things. But if they're in the small intestines or farther down, depending on where they're residing, and so kind of hit them from both angles. That's the idea. So wormwood, mugwort, things that are bitter, things that are associated with dreams, even shamanic herbs. Manny Farm, if Freemasons are master magicians, why don't they bring good to the world? That's because everyone here has free will to do what they will. That is the whole of the law. Do as thou will is the whole of the law. Love under will. It goes on to say, and the law of the universe is, hey, think it and you get it. And we're all living on different levels. There are plenty of people that have done good in the world and brought good to the world, but it's in a certain spot. It's in a frequency. It's in a bandwidth. It's in a range. Some people can walk down the street and not worry about a damn thing. They're living inside of a space on a frequency and bandwidth that is heavenly. And there are other people that live inside and outside of spaces that don't have that. And so where we are, as I've spoke about before, this collapsing, what Time Wave Zero was, it was collapsing of angelic forces and raising up of demonic forces, putting them all on the same plane so everybody could see, here's all of your choices here. Pick and choose your adventure. There's good to be had, there's bad to be had, there's people doing this shit, there's people doing, you know, there's always problems and solutions to problems and problems made from the solutions. And everybody fits in where they can. Everybody gets in where they do. Certainly there are people that are doing stupid, fucked up, filthy shit on a grand level, on a grand scale. Being liars, deceivers, cheaters. But there's also people that are doing things that are good for the world. There are people that are solving problems that we can always say, hey, yeah, they shouldn't be there. The problems shouldn't be there. But this realm seems to be a collapsing or a cohesion of all of the different states of consciousness. All things can be had here. All things can be seen. The most vile things and the most beautiful things. And so to think that there's someone out there going to make the world a better place, yeah, there are places that you can get inside of those spots, but you can't make the whole world better for everyone because some people won't accept it. They're not receivers. Hi, puppy. You want to come say hi? Hi, babies. Hi, honeys. Thank you.
Little wife just wants to eat all the cigarette butts.
Good to see you guys. Sorry, it's puppy time. So yeah, so in that way, man, just to finish that up, you could think of it in the same way, like use that same that idea of like the opportunity in this world to do anything. You could move somewhere where you're free of all of the distractions and things that seem to be evil and demonic and not right in this world. If you don't think it's right to live in a city, then don't live in a city. Go live in the forest, right? There are tribal units everywhere. It's just where do you fit in? What kind of experience do you want? Yeah, certainly I get the whole thing. I mean, we all get the thing. Like, man, can we just stop it with all the fucking drugs that are like pumped into the water system? Can we stop it with the frequencies and the mind control through the ELF frequencies and the magnetics, and you know, can we stop it with all that? Can we stop poisoning the water? Can we stop poisoning the food? You know, we get all that, and I think maybe that's occurring, that's happening as people individually start to grow their own collective consciousness, growing their own collective consciousness, meaning it's going to be my consciousness that's going to get inside of other people's heads, and I'm going to infect people with health. Imagine that. And so that springs up in the same way disease does. A dance party, the psychology of the world is the same. It's the use of having one epicenter of energy can cause crowd. This is crowd psychology. You can cause a crowd to go insane, or you can cause a crowd to start dancing. The body is no different. The world is no different. The same types of application of energetic properties go into how to manipulate and move and make things dance. Whether that dance is with a machine gun to kill someone, or that dance is actually to have a party and, you know, whatever. It's the same mechanism. So we just see it all. So hopefully that helped you a little bit there, Manny Farm, and anybody else. Yeah, oh, Katesh, for you, there you go. Psyllium husk, yeah, cilantro, chlorella. These are good things. Lemons for sure. Kratom. Yeah, like I don't know specifically, but if you know, that's a good idea. Clay, for you especially, you said you want to do a lot of heavy metal detoxing. Get into the different kinds of clays. Excuse me. There's like healing Indian clays, there's red clays, there's, you know, and some are very good for eating because the way it's going to work is on a chemical level to pull things out of the body. And you're also going to put it on the skin. You can take a bath, do a clay bath. And these will be pulling things out of you. So for the purpose of doing detoxes, the skin being the biggest organ is going to be the easiest and fastest way to get metals out of the body. It's not just coming out your rear end. A big way is going to be that because your blood's going to be processing it. But a lot of these people that go through doing these chelation therapies, if you don't have the route to get the things out of the body, if you're walking around putting deodorant on with heavy metal in it, you're already, you know what I mean? You're stopping the pathway to get these things out of your body. If your bowel is clogged up, but you start doing a chelation therapy that is pulling, say, heavy metals out of the brain by using a lot of the green seaweeds and kelp, and kelp is another good one. That's all fine and good, but if you can't get it out of the body, what's it going to do? It's just going to get recycled and put in the body somewhere else. As it pulls it out of the brain and gets into your bloodstream, all of a sudden it can't get out of it. You might just be clogging up a different system. So as always, it's best to do enemas and clean out the colon first, so that way you have an express route for everything else to load into. Elcam, you being funny with those anal beads? I do. Send me your address. Or are you being serious? Jake Dyer, how often should you do them? Well, look at my video that I did yesterday specifically about enemas, and that should answer a lot of questions. But the idea here is enemas, depending on what kind of enema you're doing, whether it's water, whether it's urine, whether it's oil, or in this case coffee would be one of the other ones. They're doing different things. The coffee is specifically to target your gallbladder and your liver. And so you'd first want to do a couple water enemas. So your question was how many? You'd want to do like 1 or 2 just warm water enemas. Maybe even include, if you have hydrogen peroxide, is a good idea. It helps to clean things up and break things up and get that out of your system. And then you would do a coffee enema. People say, oh, you can only do this many. Like I say, do it until you feel comfortable that you've gotten the results you want. I've done as many as 10 in a day. So, I also didn't have anything to do that day, and I knew that there's a bit of a hangover from it, which is literally now while I'm cleaning my system out, my blood has to process all this now. Now I'm getting slow and lethargic. My kidneys have to process this. My liver has to process this. It has to go through my whole system again. And so there's not always a direct path directly out of the house, right? So knowing that, I knew that I'm going to be sleeping a lot more. I'm going to be going through, the effects of pulling all of this out of my body and making a mess while I'm cleaning up. Whenever you clean your house, you make a mess doing it. So depending on what your life looks like, if you're going to do it over the weekend, if you have a couple days off, If you have a job to go to and work to do, I would say coffee enemas, 1 or 2, maybe 2. To do a couple cleaning ones, a couple coffee ones, and then afterwards do another. It sounds like a lot, but the water one, the one that you'd be doing after doing a couple coffee enemas, you don't got to hold that long, because the process there is just to clean out the colon. You see the coffee is actually going up to the hepatic valve into the gallbladder and pressurizing that and making it spaz out to release all of the bile and things into your system, so you can release that and get that out of your body. And Rising Love, if you're still here, the first, I'm gonna do one on the first, and as David Phillips, if he's still here, he's doing one on the first of the new year, and he asked me to do one. So for me, doing fast, once I start doing them, I get into a mode where I'll probably do a couple after that. I might even continue that longer. I'm just gonna see how I feel. But for everybody else, it'll be the 1st of December, which is what, like 5 days away? Stephen P. I've never tried Royal Roy frequency machines, and I do not know anyone that has, other than Savan Bomar, I think, used one. I knew he had a lot of different electronical gadgets. But yeah, I assume they're going to work. I assume they work. I mean, everything is frequency and vibrations, and there's all sorts of ways to do that. But doing that by itself goes back to, are you changing your diet as well? If you're not going to be changing your diet, it seems kind of pointless and useless. And if you are going to change your diet, then it doesn't seem like you need it. Yeah, Manny Farm. So hopefully I answered everything that you were asking there. And it just comes back to, everybody gets to have the experience here in this realm. On this platform, on this stage, it's a little different. If you change your frequency, maybe you'll find that you're in a place that the world is completely different. It's like, if I get out of body tonight, I can go into somewhere that it is completely a travesty, worse than anything you'll ever see, and I can go to places that is like magic everywhere. Everything's growing, everything. So maybe it's just a matter for you of changing your frequency on this, and you'll realize that as you change yourself, everything else kind of vibrates differently. See how it just got sunnier? Burdock root, Stephen P, is good for kidneys, I believe. I think it's part of a really good kidney detox formula, and kidneys are a big part of getting rid of the heavy metals. So yeah. Cam, it's been a lifetime of dressing really bad that one day I was like, oh wait, I know how to put these clothes together. Yeah, I don't know. I think how do you do that, Cam? I think you just gotta get rid of all the garbage in your brain. What is the Cam? I would assume it's the same place as yours. It all comes from the same place. Yeah, I do feel that way sometimes, Cam. You might be a child of mine. Somebody asked me the other day, do I have any kids? And I said no, but I don't really know. I feel like everyone's my child, right? That could be for a number of reasons, though. Is that possibly my child? I don't know. Yeah, Katesh, I was telling everybody, get the blue one. Get the blue one with the big opening, because it's easier to clean. So that way in the future, whenever you decide that you want to put some oil, some almond oil with turmeric, that's a really good idea. Turmeric and almond oil. Heat it up a little bit. and that will help people if you're into Ayurveda. You have different body types and different kind of ways that your system functions. And I hate using those words because it becomes ooh, Ayurveda. It's over there. Just call it like it is. Is it hot, cold? Are you dry? You know, how do we change these things? So the oil with some turmeric is a really good regulator. Well, Jordan, happy birthday. Yeah, do that, Alchem. Get the blue one. It's a big. There's 2 blue ones. Don't make the mistake of getting. I made the mistake. I lost my old one in a move. Don't make the mistake of getting the one with a smaller opening. Make sure it's got a large opening. It'll say in the comments. It's a. I don't remember how many quarts. It's the biggest one. It's like $10 more than the other ones. But it's definitely worth it. Manny Farm. It's just, I said this is going to be an open forum for whatever you need to know about how to do it. For me, I'm going to do, you know, I have 5 days for sure, and then I'll probably end up keeping it going depending on weather modification and what's going on in my local environment. So, and again, this goes into like whatever kind of fast you all want to do. What do you need to fast from? What do you want to fasten yourself to? And so I can walk you through whatever those might be. And if it's just the simple basic concept of let's stop shoveling garbage into our mouth, which is the easiest, most basic, let's get to it fast. Yeah, probably 5 days is where I'm going to do that. No solid foods. That's the easiest way of starting a fast. Just kick the solids. Go, just step up a level. Use the concept that I always do. There's 3 levels to things. So are we staying in a base level, a gross matter? Are we getting in a liquid level or an air level? So fasting, the most basic thing we can say is get rid of the first level of the fast. The first level of the fast is to stop eating things that have to be consumed and chewed up, and let's start consuming liquids. Well, Matt, what's going on here? It's everybody's birthday on December 1st. So Alchem and Unstance, you all got the same. That's amazing. Yeah, hey, Stephen P., if you know enough people that would get use out of it, it'd probably be a great investment. But just to get it for yourself, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, how much are they now? $300-400 or something? Because those specific frequencies, you know, there's to me, if you're not going to go about, if you're going to change your diet, then you don't really need to do it. If you're not going to change your diet, then it's like it's a bandage situation. But if there's other people you can help to get rid of things and to get them out of pain and suffering, sure, that'd be a good investment. But how much are they, man? So how many people? Oh man, what a mess. Put chocolate in my pocket, now it's everywhere. How many people have fasted before here? And for how long? And on what? Like when I say fast, I'd assume most people just mean fasting, like water fast. Has everybody here water fasted before? €300? What's that? 300 euros is about $190, $200 in the American pesos. What up, Donald Trump? It's good to see you. You could upgrade that ketchup, man, to semen. It'd be like a mayonnaise. You can make like a garlicky semen mayonnaise. And the best way to cook French fries is Anthony Bourdain's recipe for cooking French fries is amazing. It's a process though, because what you need to do is you need to after you've cut the French fries, you need to put them in ice water. You need to blanch them, and then you need to fry them at 2 different temperatures over a course of it's like a 4 or 5 hour process to make a perfect French fries that actually ends up having the inside be like mashed potatoes and the outside be nice and crunchy. Oh, nice. Yeah, 8 days to soak water and urine. Jake Dyer, Crow House Radio. I've checked out before. Okay, Katesh said with heavy metals, what to do first? The concept always is to do a back and forth with the psyllium. So you want to use psyllium and clay. Okay, so the psyllium is a soluble fiber. So you want to use a soluble fiber and an insoluble fiber, like psyllium and oatmeal. One is going to be scraping the coal and the other one's going to be collecting it. So you want to use those two together, like eat some oatmeal, and then 45 minutes later, you want to eat some clay. And that clay is actually going to be doing the opposite thing. One's going to be expanding the colon, and the clay is going to be compressing and pulling things in. And then about 45 minutes later, you'll go and eat some more psyllium fiber and oatmeal. And so you're going to be going back and forth. And it's going to cause that contraction to occur, back and forth, back and forth. And that's going to clean out the colon. And then from there, all of the green things, all the green smoothies, and yeah, any time. I mean, there's never a wrong time to add lemon and green smoothies to the diet. And then you're going to also, obviously, the clay baths are a good idea. Whether you just want to do a clay mask, you just do all on the face. You could use also activated charcoal is good. Bentonite and clay. And what else? Kelp powder. Kelp powder is really good. Chlorella, kelp powder. Yeah. And obviously, if you can get into it and do a tiny bit of research, I don't want to go too deep on it here, but magnets. If it's heavy metals and you've got those kind of things in your body, especially the iron, everybody's seen these videos about people that were eating a lot of breakfast cereals. You can pour some breakfast cereal in in some milk, and you can take a magnet and you can pull the things around with it because they're actually using inorganic iron, which becomes magnetized. Now, if you put a magnet, you could put a magnet into your system to start pulling things. Pull a magnet down your face. If it's in your brain, you could pull it literally out of you. Put it all over your body. You can use magnets to remove heavy metals. Yeah, Unstance knows all about eating French fries. Do you also, as President Donald Trump, put your ketchup in your belly button, Unstance? Yeah, you freeze them after the first one. Yeah, look up his recipe. It's really amazing. Oh, you like the big one? I like the shoestring cut. They're really thin French fries. I don't like big fat French fries. Look at this. I mean, 3 day. If you're not going to do it all the time that way, like, yeah, getting to 3 days is awesome. But if you were going to practice it, and you were like, oh, once a month I'm going to do it for 3 days, that's not going to be really that healthy. You're going to lose a lot of musculature in your system. So, especially girls that get really skinny and their muscle starts to be decayed away is because of those 2 to 3 day fast every couple weeks. And whether that's an eating disorder or whatever is because of how much protein is actually getting, eaten off of the body. So, yeah, doing once a year or whatever, or once in a while. 3 is better than 2. Is better than 1. Stephen P. Eat the clay with water, a lot of water, and make sure. Oh yeah, just as a friendly reminder. Obviously, distilled water on top of distilled water on top of distilled water, because the distilled water in and of itself has it wants to suck things into it. It wants to suck all of the minerals, the diseases, the garbage that's in your body, and pull it in and remove it from your body. And there's other types of fruit juice fasts for anybody that wants to do a fruit juice fast. Just consider what your purpose is. A lot of before I get into that, another thing you can do with this fast to get rid of heavy metals is potato juice. Beets, potato juice, these are blood cleaners, and they're very cleansing for the blood. And you have to think about it in the sense of what do potatoes do? What do elements of the earth do? It's a pulling thing. It's bringing things down into it. So the starches and things from that is a blood cleansing thing. And this it's where you get the term beet from, is you have a heartbeat. So beet juice is especially good as a blood cleaner. And I mean, just consider, just think about what a potato is and that starchiness of what it would do. If you pour something through it, it's going to collect it. It's going to have a very similar property to what psyllium would. It has a very similar property. It's just doing it in the blood rather than in the colon. Instance, I assume you walk around with ketchup in your belly button. You use peanut oil, man. Yeah, okay. I can dig the peanut oil sometimes, but I'd rather the full lard. Just some really good butter. Just really good butter, man. And I'm not gonna fry them. You can just put them in. You can bake them with a lot of butter on them. Yeah, man, go enjoy that, Cam. So what else? What other things y'all want to know about fasting and concepts? So how long are you gonna do it for? What else needs to be? What up, Stephen Coe? Stephen Coe. Best for cooking. Best oil for cooking. Well, let me first say that olive oil, there's a big thing on the you can look into it, it's pretty interesting. A big thing on the underground, what goes on with the cutting of olive oil. So there are a lot of companies that are selling olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, that isn't extra virgin. They were talking about the way you can tell the different kinds of oil, if it's virgin versus extra virgin, and then there's an even higher level or grade of oil. It is essentially where it sits. The lower the level, the denser it is the standard crude oil that you'd be getting, and the better quality is the stuff that rises to the top. It's kind of in the same way cream rises to the top. The better oil rises to the top. Specifically, the oils that would be best to use. Consider what the purpose of what you're going to do with it is. A lot of the idea is to find something with a very high smoking point. Almond oil tends to be good, but it's also very expensive. For the purpose of eating on a day-to-day basis and cooking with oil, it seems to be just if you can find, and this goes back to, can you trust the oil that you're getting? Can you trust that it's actually olive oil? And a lot of times, it's something like 75 to 80% of the oils that you're finding aren't actually the oil that they say. It's cut with something else completely. So, as far as butter and things, I don't want to play the butter game here. I don't want to play the why the cow is so holy and why the milk is righteous. I don't want to play that one here. But if you're going to play with oil, just look into what the purpose is. Do you want to fix your brain? Cook with pecan oil. Cook with walnut oil. You want to fix different parts of your body? Find the food signature or the nut that resembles that and use that kind of oil.
It's like it's right on me.
So it just really depends, man. I think avocado oil is really good. But again, back to cost of things.
I'm not either. This is purely recent.
What up, Tiger Strong? When did I start this cast? I don't know, like an hour ago. But like in general, I've been doing live shows for, I don't know, 3 months now? I don't know. Yeah, Katash, and there's another really good fast. Here's one for, I'll just put it out there, and obviously, it's called Kabbalah. Carrots, apples, beets, apples, lemons, and apples. So you use 3 different color apples, red, green, and golden. And then you've got your beets, you've got your carrots, and lemons. And you mix that up and make a juice out of it and just drink that. It's super, super delicious. It's like a high C on steroids that's super healthy for you. And it's very cleansing for the blood. So Kabbalah juice, C-A-B-A-L-A. That's how to remember it. Oh, Stephen Coe, best way to break fast is always, it's this, right? As you start fasting, it'd be the concept would be to find something that is easy to digest. If you're fasting on oxygen, you're not going to go eat a steak. So the next step in a fast is always to find something that's a little more dense. So if you're on a water fast, what would be the closest thing? What would be the juice? You wouldn't want to use something like, say, tomato juice, because it'd be thick, right? You want to find something, just find something that looks right to you. Once you've fasted for 7 or 8 days, you'll find the thing that speaks to you. You'll listen to your body. You'll walk into a grocery store and you'll see a fruit and be like, I want that pineapple. I want that coconut. Coconut water is a brilliant way to stop a fast, because it's going to have a lot of minerals in there, and it's already water, right? You don't got to juice anything. I would say coconut water is the easiest step into getting out of a fast. Coconut water, and then find yourself fresh juices that you like. I prefer apple juice. Apple juice is one of my favorite things. Another easy thing, and it has a lot of really constructive acids in it. Malic acid will help you clean a lot of things. Katash, man, yeah, that second day is the hard one, man, because that becomes the mental challenge at day 2. You're like, man, is this how it's going to feel this entire time? But if you can get past that 72-hour mark, if you tell them get past 72 hours, and it changed the way that you perceive it, because your physiology will change. Literally your brain chemistry will change, because you won't have the feeling that you need to eat anymore. Simon, I'm against antioxidants for most people, because most people need a lot more oxidation in the diet. Once you're decently healthy, then it's a good idea to drink green tea and find things that are antioxidant, because you don't want to be continually cleansing, continually using that term and finding antioxidants. Like, it's such a hot button word that means next to nothing. It's kind of like the idea of everything, of superfoods. Everything's a superfood. Everything is a superfood. It just depends on what your problem is. If you've got really weak bones, a superfood would be celery. But everybody's like, no, you need some goji berries. But $35 a pound goji berries are 99 cents for some celery. If you got problems with your bones, the best thing for you is going to be that celery. So that's going to be a superfood. So antioxidants, and I'm for coconut oil. Coconut oil is awesome stuff. Yeah, that sounds delicious, Steve P. Yeah, Stephen Co. The smashed carrots. Yeah, that's, you know, that's depending on how many days you fasted. So here, let me go a little farther with this. The longer you fasted, the longer it should take you to get back to solid foods. So you would get off a fast with, say, coconut water, then a juice, then make yourself a stew, and then that stew you'll drink the water from the stew. Like do yourself a veggie stew, drink the water from it, and then find yourself after maybe 3 days to consume one of those overcooked carrots. Because you don't want to reintroduce things for your body to digest too soon, because it will have a problem. When I did, I've told this story before, when I did my 43-day water fast, coming off of it, I was already way too superhuman, so I was like 48 hours after fasting. I was like, oh, I can eat anything I want, and I went and ate like 2 giant bowls of pasta. Yeah, I damn near almost killed myself. I slept for like 20 hours because of my body it was like, you need to sleep. Everything just like, my eyes were all baggy. Because my system wasn't prepped up to start digesting that much food. And so I was like, well, don't make that mistake again. And another way to do it, let me just jump in with this. Adding things like already living foods, kombucha. Adding kombucha, doing a yogurt enema is a good idea. So anything that is left over in your system, depending on how long you've done the fast for, is now you're going to be putting those good bacteria in to do all the work for you. So eating yogurt even, or eating kombucha or some sort of living food is a great idea. This is almost dead, but I will continue this on in the part 2 in a second. I'm gonna go charge this, and I have my other computer, so we don't have to take a break for too long. But give me like 5 to 10 minutes so I can go use the bathroom. And Just Jose, I'll jump onto that in my next video. So yeah, Stephen Co. I mean, that urine fast is the way to go, man. That's an upgrade. Like, from all the waters, distilled urine. Urine is the highest level of water. It's like urine, distilled, spring. And there's a different use for spring water that it's hard to talk to people about, because we're talking about energetics within the water. But doing a cleanse, spring water isn't the best thing, nor it is the best thing for people generally. And this gets into higher levels of alchemy and having a clean alchemical unit and using one specific element to see what happens with it, to spin it around in your system to see what's going to occur. And so there's a lot of healing springs, and so that, talking about like vortexing water and the energy held within a water, there's more to the spring water. But for most people, because you're not getting the spring water from the source, and you're getting it in a bottle or a can 100 miles away, all of those healing properties and what that spring water was about is no longer spring water. It's bottled water. So that's something people need to know about. So yeah, I'm gonna go charge this. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. Does that sound good for everybody here? Yeah, it's an instance. You know all about Victor Schauberger, right? I'll get to you personally on that, or I'll talk about it in the next one. So yeah, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Is that cool, Radical? And Stephen Co., most people are a little dehydrated, so urine is probably not going to be enough for most people. You're going to need to be adding more distilled water, because how much you're going to be cleansing out of you, and if you're not collecting and drinking every single drop of it, you're going to dehydrate yourself. So most people aren't to the level where they can do a distilled, a urine only fast. You're going to be the addition of distilled water is pretty important. So I'm going to be back in like 5 minutes, y'all. Cool.